What's up? You already know who it is. Novice Analyzer, where we tell the truth. I'm not wrong, I'm just early. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know how I'm coming. Y'all like honesty? Y'all like somebody to tell it like it is? You probably wonder, why you shielding your identity? Because I don't want nobody to get attached to who I am. I don't want nobody to get attached emotionally to me and create that groupthink hive mindset. I want you to just listen to what I'm saying. You take it in, take what you need, leave the rest. If some hit you in your spirit, let that shit burn. Either I'm going to give you something that's going to make you feel the light, or the light going to burn you. You know? I'm going to let some people get into the room. If you're watching this on the replay, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want to hear more truth bombs, you want to hear more real and in-depth commentary, hit the hearts. If you're watching live, give me a what's up, how you doing? If you're drinking on something, take a sip for me. Smoking on something, blow one for me. Before we get started, I gotta give you my disclaimer. This is YouTube, so we always gotta make sure we doing things on the up and up, on the legal way. Alright, this channel is built around commentary, observation, speculation, and cultural analysis based on public observable behavior, internet culture, and personal perspective. None of these conversations are meant to diagnose, shame, or attack anyone. The purpose of Novice Analyzer is to think deeper about the psychological, cultural, and emotional patterns we're witnessing online and in society. If you enjoy conversations that go beyond surface level commentary, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation in the comments, because we're going to talk about a lot over here, alright? Alright. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about how trauma became internet currency. Yeah, let's talk about that. How many times y'all seen people crash out on here? How many times? Instead of going to their diary or their therapist or people they trust, they come to the internet. They come for that validation. See, the internet don't just consume content no more. It consumes pain. I think we've become so used to watching people suffer online that we don't even realize how abnormal it is anymore. Like, it's crazy to watch people suffer constantly. We got constant access to people suffering, yo. I think one of the strangest things social media did to humanity was turn our emotional pain into entertainment. And before people started getting comfortable, I'm not saying that people shouldn't share their stories. Some people's painful and traumatic stories have helped people come out of the darkness. It has helped people overcome their own trauma. We need to continue to share that, because that's how human connection is built. That's how we build familiarity and closeness, and that's how we bond. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't share our stories. I think storytelling can heal people. I think vulnerable people can, when they share, they can make people feel less alone. Honesty matters. But somewhere along the lines, the internet stopped creating space where we can heal and started rewarding that emotional exposure. See, that's a difference. I don't think people talk about that enough. People they don't just go through their pain in private no more. They got to process it online, publicly, in real time, in front of strangers. Look at Facebook Live. How many strangers have you seen on there where it's just drama? It's the biggest drama. People got to hit that live button. People start crying. And they get their phone, they go to the camera app, and then they hit that red button to record. And they turn the phone towards them so people can see their tears. Breakdowns become live streams now. Heartbreak is content. Trauma brings the engagement. And the more you emotionally suffer, the more the algorithm's going to reward that. That's the part that disturbs the fuck out of me, yo. Because social media is going to reward that trauma. Is going to give you visibility, not healing. And that's what people confuse it to, because a lot of times something is public And the person hadn't even processed the shit yet. They think because they online talking about it, then they fully processed it. We are living in an era where people are bleeding emotionally online. And people standing around looking at that shit like it's a TV show. And what's scary is the more emotional the content is, the more attention it's going to get. You don't believe me? Again, look at these quotes. Look at Nature Boy. That's how he was able to get so much attention. He was salacious. People were emotional, crying online. He was emotional because anger is an emotion, my brothers. Anger is an emotion, fellas. So when he would get angry, the algorithm rewarded that. That's why outrage, it was spreading so fast, but people was upset because he had the audacity. You had people getting online, crashing out, seeing this crazy black man go insane. That's why people stop scrolling when they see it. They stop scrolling when they see somebody crying or yelling or exposing somebody else. When we see videos of people exposing somebody for being gay or cheating, oh, that's going to make us stop right there. When we see somebody breaking down and spiraling, oh yeah, we're going to stop. We love that. We eat that up. We eat it up. Emotion captures attention, especially pain. And these platforms, they know it. They know it. Look at TikTok. If you are a black creator, spaz out on there. Go crazy. You're going to go viral. You're going viral. But if you talking some real shit, if you calm, if you got your shit together, nah, they ain't going viral. The algorithm was set up according to a system. Only certain people going to go viral. Only certain things are going to go viral. Okay? This shit get real deep psychologically. And here's the thing. People know what's going to get them attention. Okay? When they realize my pain going to get me attention, they're going to feed it. And sometimes attention can become very addictive, especially if somebody spent their whole life being ignored, unseen, not cared about. That's why social media is so dangerous for people who are emotionally weak, who are constantly seeking validation, because now validation is tied to visibility. The more vulnerable you are in public, the more engagement you'll get. The more that people comment, the more people say, oh, I understand that. I've been through it too. I understand you, queen. I understand you, king. You right. When you got thousands of people relating to you, and you somebody that is emotionally hurting, that kind of validation is comforting. That validation feel good. But comfort and healing, that's not the same thing. Some people now, some are genuinely healing in public. And that's what I think the beautiful part about it is. Some people are showing you that they have processed on their own, and then they get online and show their healing. But then some people, they are performing their pain because it gets them attention, and the internet rewards the shit. That's the scary part about society. Eventually, your trauma can quietly become your identity online. And once you get out of that trauma, people are going to still try to hold you to it and expect you to continue to perform your pain when you've already gotten over it. That's why it's so dangerous. People start knowing you for your suffering. Oh, that's the girl with the toxic relationship. Oh, that's the guy that he always be crashing out. I don't care if you went online twice and crashed out, and the other 100 times you was completely normal. You're going to be known for the one that crashed out. Oh, that's the content creator. They always exposing somebody on their channel. Oh, this page right here. Oh, it's always something. And it can even be positive. You can be somebody who might be, giving positive content. Oh, that's the content. They the healing guru. That's the one that make that content about, healing and whatever. Oh, they a therapist. Oh, they a teacher. They pigeonhole you into one type of thing. And once audience start to emotionally connect to that version of you, that's where you got to stay. It ain't fair, but that's the pressure. That's the pressure. You feel like you got to keep feeding into it. That's where it gets. That's the psychology of it. Because now your pain becomes tied to how relevant you are, how long you stay at the top. Especially if you start looking at them analytics. Oh, don't look at them analytics. If you see a certain type of content is getting traction, it's getting attention, it's getting the likes, it's getting the comments, it's getting more subscribers, it's getting more followers. Oh, now you feel the pressure. Oh, I got to keep making content like that. Even if it's not even who you are. It doesn't even speak to who you are today, because we all live in seasons. We all live in seasons. And once we are out of that season, now you got to pivot. But when you got an online presence, you can't pivot. Because who you were in that season where you might have had pain, that's what gave you that relevancy. And I really want people to hear me clearly here. I think social media has blurred the line between vulnerability and emotional performance real bad. Because the vulnerability is supposed to create connection. But when it's online, it creates consumption. You are food for the masses. That's why people binge dysfunction TV. Look at Baddies. Look at Zeus. People binge watch that shit, man. I fucking hate Baddies, yo. I fucking hate that show. I be seeing a lot of females and women watch that shit, man. I hate that shit, yo. I don't even watch Zeus. I be watching educational shit all the time, my bro. I be trying to figure out how the world be working. People sit on TikTok for hours and watch strangers cry. As soon as I see you drop a tear out your eye, I'm gone. They be watching strangers argue. They watch people expose each other. They watch people completely unravel online. Every day. Every day. After a while, you become desensitized to that shit. That's kind of scary when you think about it, you know what I'm saying? We see school, students going to elementary schools with an assault rifle and the needle don't even move for us no more. We see the wildest shit on the news. That's what they're trying to get us to be. They're trying to get us to be so desensitized that when the wildest shit happen, we just roll over and go back to sleep. That's the conversation we need to be having, especially my black people. I think black people especially need to talk about this more deeply, because in our community, a lot of us already grew up suppressing our emotions. A lot of us were taught to just stay strong and, don't let people see you weak, especially the men of the black community. We always got to be strong, keep going. Just pray about it. Pray about it, but don't process. That ain't how prayer works. You're doing both. So now, social media is the opposite extreme. People went from suppressing everything to oversharing everything. And somewhere in the middle, emotional processing, healthy emotional processing, it got lost. Healing isn't just expression. Healing requires isolation sometimes. It requires you to do the introspective work and reflect. Sit still. Everything don't need a fucking audience, yo. Everything is not content. And I know people don't like hearing that shit, because the internet normalized public processing so much. We feel like we got to get online and tell everybody. Whenever we process something, whenever we go through something, we feel like we got to disclose every fucking thing to the internet, man. Sit your ass down sometime. Sit down and be by yourself sometime. Some things need time before, you get in front of the camera, especially if y'all content creators out there. Process your shit, dog. Don't get on the internet and crash out. Another thing I noticed? People online often say they care about mental health until somebody's mental health becomes inconvenient, uncomfortable, or too messy. Now everybody got a problem. especially a black man. But you know, my brothers, we don't create enough safe space for each other. We always want to talk about black men and their mental health, black men and their mental health. But as soon as a black man get on here crying or saying something that make us feel uncomfortable or holding himself accountable, now we saying, nah, bruh, don't do all that. Y'all performative as hell online, but around your boys, you don't even provide no safe space at all. We always want to make things uncomfortable, especially when somebody is speaking their truth. That's when the internet turns cruel real fast. People love vulnerability until it stops being aesthetically pleasing. That's why the same audience supporting you today can be the one that's going to turn on you and humiliate you tomorrow. And creators feel that pressure constantly. I'm talking about from the biggest to the smallest, especially creators whose platforms were built on emotional transparency. When you start to pull back, people are going to feel some type of way about that. They're going to resent that because now people feel obligated to, the creators, they feel obligated to keep giving pieces of themselves away emotionally just to maintain that connection with their audience. And eventually, they become emotionally exhausted. That's why you got to take breaks. I don't think some creators even realize that they burn it out in real time because they constantly emotionally available online. You constantly giving people access. You're constantly sharing and reacting and explaining and just exposing your wounds to the public. The line between your real self and your internet self, it starts to blur. Especially when your platform start growing from your pain. Because now your healing can subconsciously feel threatening. It's like, oh, I'm getting better. Are people still going to relate to me now that I'm better? Are people still going to come to me? Because people are drawn to pain. They're not drawn to healing. They are drawn to the hurt. If people followed you because you were broken, who are you without that brokenness? That's some real shit you need to ask yourself. Who are you without the pain? That's a hard psychological question. I think audience need accountability too, not just the people who create, because people consume trauma online very casually now. Every single day, people refresh their pages all the time. They go to specific pages where they know they'll constantly get a meltdown. They be waiting for the drama, and they call it entertainment, in quotes. If y'all liking this content, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe to this channel right now. Show me some love. Yeah, we call drama entertainment. What does that say about internet culture? What does that say? What does it say that human suffering is content? I don't think we as humans really understand the constant exposure to digital pain and what that does to us mentally. We were never meant to consume this many people emotions every day. That's too fucking much. Are y'all not thinking about what this is doing to our brains? To constantly consume everybody's emotions every day, all day, in real life and online, good and bad emotions. That does a lot to us psychologically. That's why you gotta protect your spirit, because you'll find yourself comparing. No wonder so much depression. That's not normal, yo. Maybe that's why everybody is depressed and feel emotionally overwhelmed now, because social media turns everybody into emotional spectators. We watching everybody's pain, their anger. We watching private conflict that should never be public. Our brain absorb all that, man. We absorb all that energy, whether we realize it or not. No matter how much you try to disconnect, you're absorbing it because it's so pervasive. Now, don't get me wrong. I think storytelling is powerful. I love when people share their story and their testimony, for sure. I think testimony is powerful. I think honesty is freeing. But I also think that people need to start asking themselves important questions about, should I be sharing this before posting emotionally engaging content online? You need to ask yourself, am I sharing this because I processed it or because I need validation? That's a hard question. That's a hard question. And maybe it's something you need to put on your phone before you get ready to get online. Tape to your computer, tape to your desk. Why am I sharing this right now? Am I sharing it to help somebody, or am I looking for validation? I think social media create narcissists too. NPD is rare, but I think it's becoming more common because of social media. I guess that goes to the question of nurture versus nature. Because the internet will monetize your wounds forever if you let it. An audience will continue to watch as long as you keep hurting and exposing yourself emotionally to the public. And maybe that's the deepest tragedy of all, that in a world where people are desperate to be seen, social media figured out how that pain keeps people watching for a long time. Much longer than peace ever will. I ain't trying to tell you how to think. I'm just trying to tell you to think. I'm the Novice Analyzer.